What is up? What's up, everybody? So, check it out. I'd like to play more drums on the Mark Z Drumcast. First of all, welcome to the Mark Z Drumcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Whether you were able to join me live or came to my channel to watch this video at another time, thank you so much for your support, and thank you for being there. I've had a lot of great feedback from what I've been doing on the Mark Z Drumcast, and I appreciate all of it. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. If you like the content I have, hit the like button, because I've got some things for you that that are really going to help you. And on today's show, I'm going to talk about some things that you may not be aware of, but little tips and tricks about rock beats, and a couple of tips and tricks about how do we get better. How do we, if we're feeling stuck and we're not really moving in a positive direction, if we're not able to see gains at this point, I have a few things that are going to really help you. And also, I have some great advice about our attitudes, right? And we're going to talk about that too on today's show. I'm going to touch upon something that was going on in a previous show and kind of reiterate a little bit of what I was talking about. But before that, I want to update you. I want to talk a little bit about my week in teaching. I've had an incredible week of teaching. A lot of really cool things are happening with my students, and breakthroughs and level ups and stuff like that with my students, which is super exciting. But actually, before I get more into that, I want to say that the Mark Z Drumcast will be now on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Okay, 3 days a week, the Mark Z Drumcast. I will set it, it's going to be early afternoon, okay? I don't know that I'm quite yet ready to nail down an exact time for the show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but it's going to be around noon. I know. As I say that, you're saying, yes, Mark Z, but it is almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, I get that. I get that. One of the things is that I had to give my dog a bath. Okay, now that didn't take all of this time, but it's a process. He did great. He's he's the best boy. And then when he's dry, he's going to get a grooming. But anyway, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Mark Z Drumcast. I have to keep myself on point here. Mark Z Drumcast, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, around noon, 1-ish, that time of the day. That's really the only time I have. I'm usually teaching till the evenings during the week. And on the weekends, I'm busy with band stuff, creating music, teaching, and, downtime, enjoying myself. I have to have a healthy balance, but that's for another show. Anyway, a great week of teaching. I've seen some of my students really come into their own as far as comfortability at the drum set. Comfortability behind the drums. People that were a little hesitant, and we're going to talk about this too, because this is going to lead into one of my topics for today, which is our attitudes. Sometimes we have bad attitudes. But anyway, the approach I'm noticing from a couple of my students, especially yesterday, is more confident, more of sitting down, boom, just playing that song. I like to do like 10 minutes at the end of our lessons after we do some technique stuff and we do some rudiment stuff and some creative stuff. 10 minutes afterwards, we pick songs, we do active listening, and then we also talk about how do we figure out how to play a cover song. I went over that a little bit on my last show when I have been requested to play Gray Street by the Dave Matthews Band. And I kind of went through my process a little bit. I had listened to it a couple of times before the actual show, but I wanted to listen to the song and take you through my process. And I think it was a good show because I really did show how exactly I approach learning a new song. That's a song I had only listened to maybe 2 times and never all the way through. Just got a feel for it. And so on the show the other day, I listened to it all the way through. I made my mental notes and I did a quick run through of the song to begin with. And, with the understanding that it wasn't going to be perfect, it wasn't going to be the finished product. I am going to be posting my cover of Gray Street by Dave Matthews Band up on my channel pretty soon. But I'm working on it, For a song like that, it's got a lot going on, and I want to make sure that I put together a good, solid performance. But if you watch my last show, my last Drumcast, you'll see that I ran through it without any issues, and I had a good understanding and a good feel for the song. After I get to that point is when I start to figure out all the details and stuff like that. Important fills that need to be included and the style to which these fills occur. And I noticed that they started to become more frequent in the end as the intensity of the song came up. The frequency of fills, increased, ramped up, right? So I'm still in the process of listening and figuring out certain things. But it's a cool song. I always loved the drummer for Dave Matthews Band. I've never been a big fan of Dave Matthews, but I've always been aware that the drummer is real good and makes a lot of cool choices and grooves really hard. So I'm looking forward to working on that too. The other cover I'm doing is Tom Sawyer by Rush. My idol growing up, Neil Peart. He has left us way too soon, but huge influence on my drumming when I was coming up. He helped me to understand the many, many possibilities that existed in playing drums, coming from Kiss, AC/DC, and bands like that growing up. To hear Neil Peart approach the drums as he did in the band just opened up the world of drumming to me. So that's going to be another cover I'm going to work on. And maybe I'll do a show on it. Maybe on Friday I will do today's Friday. Maybe on Monday on the next show I will do maybe a breakdown of how I work on that Tom Sawyer song. And that should be definitely fun. But getting back to my students and what I'm seeing confidence-wise, I'm seeing their confidence grow. I'm seeing them sit down at the drum set with confidence, understanding that they know what they need to do. I've seen vast improvements in some of my students as far as their ears go, right? I have an adult woman that comes in, and I've been working with her for a few months, and she's very, very good, hard on herself, which a lot of my students are tough on themselves. And then, again, I'm going to talk about that when I get to the attitude section of this show. But really, really good ears, right? Really, really good active listening skills. We were going over a song, and, I thought it was kind of one way. I thought the bass drum was hitting on every part, and she pointed out that it was going back and forth. Bass drum, no bass drum, bass drum, no bass drum. And I'm like, you're right. That right there, that is just the bass guitar. But the next time it happens, there is a bass drum there. Uh, so I was impressed with her active listening skills, and that's what I emphasize that a lot with my students. Really listen with headphones, really understand what's going on in the song. And then again, another young man that has been coming to me for a little while, just really like attacking the drums with purpose, with power, and dynamically starting to understand the dynamics of playing the drums. He was playing a song in which the snare drum was right there, present and powerful, but the hi-hat was a little bit more understated, right? So within his performance of the rock beat, he had different dynamics going on the hi-hat, between the snare, the bass drum, and the parts that he was hearing. That's kind of how he was interpreting and playing that song. And I gave him props because I said, you know what? You're adjusting your dynamics within your beat to match what you're hearing. And then as the intensity of the song increased, so did his playing. These are all things that come with practice. These are all things that don't automatically kind of jump out at you. They have to be pointed out. We have to talk about them. We have to understand that it's a thing. Dynamics are a thing. How we approach the drum set, how we play certain songs or certain styles of music, that's all, those are all things that come with experience. So really happy to see a lot of my students starting to really blossom and grow. The other thing that really helps with my students is when they joined the student band at the school I teach at. It kind of injects them with some more responsibility, because now they feel responsible to their bandmates, and they're part of a group where everybody's working towards the success of the whole group. And it's no longer about just them practicing or not practicing. It's about them being accountable to their bandmates and responsible to their bandmates to help, do their part, to pull their weight, and to contribute to the band as a whole. And that, I tell you what, it helps my students to grow leaps and bounds, and they really embrace practice. They learn how to listen better. They really create a good dynamic as far as how they interact with their bandmates. And they have so much fun, and it motivates them, and it helps them to grow as musicians. So if you have an opportunity to join any kind of a band, whether it's a garage band or a band of friends from school, or you're working at a school, or I'm sorry, you're getting lessons at a school and they have a band program or an ensemble program, look into it, check it out, because it really does help us to elevate our playing and our musicianship, and it's a great thing to see. So really good week of teaching, really fun, great reinforcement. I have a student who I teach virtually, and then occasionally he will book a studio where he could play on actual drums. He doesn't have drums in his apartment. So we do virtual stuff. We talk about concepts. We do a lot of stuff with hands. We do coordination stuff. But then I will meet him a couple of times a month at the studio and do an in-person lesson with him. And he's another one that really gets it, gets the ideas, gets the concepts, gets what it means. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I understand that. This is how I'm supposed to be counting. I understand that. And it's starting to come together where he's telling me, wow, I feel more comfortable on the drums now. And he flows better. I could feel the flow better. So just all of that really good stuff. Progress. Really cool. But anyway, that brings me to my other topic, our attitudes. Now, the way we think can have a great effect on what we do, how successful we are, and whether or not we even try at something, right? I have a few students, and certainly impatience is running amok amongst all of my students, because we kind of live in that world. We kind of live in that society where we get instant results instantly, right? We order something from Amazon. It's at our door later that afternoon or the next day. We've come to expect things really fast. Oh, the latest movie is on demand. Let me just press a button and watch the latest movie. It's there for me. Oh, I wanted to listen to this song. Boom, it's there in seconds. It's a microwave society. I don't know if there's anything faster than a microwave, because that's what I would call our society. But right now it's a microwave society. Instantly, boom, everything. So when my students come in, sometimes they have those expectations of themselves. I should get this instantly. I should be able to do this right now. I should know how to do this. I should be able to do this better. And they're often hard on themselves, and they often get frustrated quickly and easily if it doesn't happen right away. Now, I could definitely identify with that, because when I was younger, I kind of had that same attitude. So maybe it's not even necessarily a product of the society we live in, although, listen, we're bombarded with information all the time. And sometimes it could contribute to short attention span, ADHD, if you will. I've noticed that in myself too, that I have a shorter attention span. I have to take a breath, and I have to put the phone down and just breathe and relax myself, and not be on this this treadmill that's like on high speed, going. So when we talk about, or what I'm talking about, is giving ourselves the time to learn something, being patient enough with ourselves that if we don't do it right away, it's okay. We try again, and we understand that it's a journey, and that there are steps involved, and that there are levels, and we set small goals and then longer term, bigger goals, and we work towards those goals, and we achieve, and then we continue. Sometimes we have to adjust our path back and forth, but we're always heading towards the goal, and eventually we get there. Okay, the how quickly we get there depends on how much time and effort and energy we put into reaching that goal. So that's why I said in another show, we control our own destiny. Okay, the things that we can do to get us to a point that we want to get to, achieve those goals. So we want to be careful with what we tell ourselves. We want to be careful with how patient or impatient we are with ourselves. We want to give ourselves time to get better, and we want to allow ourselves our mistakes. Our mistakes are ours, and they're important to us because they help us to learn, they help us to grow, they help us to adjust what we're doing. The best part is when we make a mistake and we know we've made that mistake. And I have a number of students that'll play something, oh, that's not right. All right, let's try it again. Oh, that's not right. They recognize, they understand the mistakes they made. Then we could correct it. We could work on correcting it. Mistakes are our friends. Mistakes are inevitable. I would like us to accept and cherish our mistakes, right? Because they do help us grow. And we are not a mistake-free race of people. It is part of it, right? We have to be willing to make mistakes in order to grow. We have to be willing to be terrible in order to grow. And I'm only saying that not towards anybody else, but directed towards myself. I think when I first started making videos, I decided that I was terrible. But I needed somebody to tell me that it's okay to be terrible at first so that you can be better later. We need to embrace and accept our failures, our mistakes, and us not being very good in the beginning. That's just the way it is. Anything we start new, especially if we've never done it before, allow ourselves to be not good at it at first. Accept that. That's okay. So attitude plays a big role in our success. I have students, and I feel bad, my heart goes out to them, that are convinced they're terrible and they will never get any better. That's so not true. First of all, you're not terrible right now. Okay? You may have high expectations for yourself, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Unrealistic expectations may be a bad thing, especially if you're thinking, wow, I should be way better by now. I've been playing for a year, and I should be way better. Listen, we all get to where we get to at our own pace, and it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not be great. It's okay to not be great for a while. But if we keep our eye on the ball and we keep going and we keep moving forward and trying to get better and not beat ourselves up for mistakes, not beat ourselves up for not being there yet. Are we there yet? No, we're not there yet. But it's okay exactly where we are. This is a good place to be. This is an okay place to be. We're fine right here, right now. Eventually, we will get there. But I will tell you, there's never a there, right? I've been playing for a long time. I've been playing since I'm 7 years old. And you could do the math. Long, long time. I'm not there, right? But I am enjoying the journey, and I'm constantly, every day, trying to get a little bit better at what I do. Whether it's the Mark Z Drumcast, or it's being better as a teacher, or as a musician, as a player, as a reader, as a writer, anything, a voice actor, everything I'm constantly trying to improve. But the important thing was that I had to accept the fact that I'm not going to be great right away. It's not going to be perfect right away. I'm going to have to go through those uncomfortable feelings of, ooh, looking at that video and going, oh, that's not good. Or trying to play that song. Ooh, that wasn't really that good. And then saying, okay, but I'm going to get better. You know, I'm going to get better, and I'm going to put the time and the effort in to get better. So that is attitude. One of the other things that was really cool that happened to me was a brand new student, second lesson in, an adult male. I was talking about him on another Drumcast, and he was the one who asked me, if you had seen the other show, he was the one that had asked me, well, how long do you think it's going to take me to get to, point A, be able to play a song, this, that, and the other thing? And my answer was, you get out of it what you put into it. Everybody learns at a different pace. Everybody progresses at a different pace. But as an individual, the more time and effort and energy you put into practicing what we go over in our lessons, the sooner you will be able to play a song. And reach whatever goals you're trying to reach. So I saw him yesterday, and I noticed too, he was a little hard on himself, trying something new, not getting it right away, getting a little frustrated. And I said, no, you know what? You're actually doing really well, and you've progressed from the previous lesson where we were able to do this. Now you are able to do that. But what the really cool thing that happened was, I spent a lot of years teaching, but also a lot of time figuring out how to explain the same idea and concept in different ways. Because what I started to realize was that some people respond better to this kind of explanation, or this kind of me laying out what we're supposed to be doing. Some are better looking at music or sheet music. Some are better watching me do it first. Some are better listening to what it sounds like. All different ways. Everybody's different. So he wasn't quite getting the basic rock beat, right? Which is bass drum on 1, snare drum on 3, hi-hat on all 4. And we hit the bass drum hi-hat on 1, the snare drum hi-hat on 3. And this was the way I explained it to him in the beginning. Four hi-hats. Number 1 hi-hat gets a bass drum added to it. Number 3 hi-hat, we play the snare drum and the hi-hat together. And then 2 and 4 are hi-hats by themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. He was having trouble with it. So I said, okay, I let him try. I said, okay, let's try a different approach. I said, let's think of it this way. Instead of 4 different steps, we're going to do 2 steps. The first one is going to be bass drum hi-hat together, and then hi-hat by itself. So like this. The second step is going to be snare drum, hi-hat together, hi-hat by itself, like this. So now we've created two steps, and playing the bass drum hi-hat together, hi-hat by itself, snare drum hi-hat together, hi-hat by itself. So I had him do these, this alternative way of playing a rock beat, and it clicked for him that way, right? This way clicked for him. That made more sense to him. So he began to do it. And once we straightened out the timing issues and we got that hi-hat going steady, and he started thinking in terms of bass drum hi-hat together, hi-hat by itself, snare drum hi-hat together, hi-hat by itself. Actually, let me try this. Okay, right? This way you just hear, you don't hear the actual drums, you'll hear me tapping on the pad. It'll make more sense with my count. Bass drum hi-hat, hi-hat, snare drum hi-hat, hi-hat. Once he got that down, he started to do this slowly. And then he started to connect all of the hi-hats into a continuous stream of time. So that we started to get that hi-hat as a timekeeper, that hi-hat as a sort of a metronome. But we needed to do it that way first. We needed to do bass drum, hi-hat, hi-hat, snare drum, hi-hat, hi-hat. 2 steps, put them together, and then repeat. And man, that did the trick for him. So there's always more than one way to explain something. There's always more than one way to learn something. And so, like I said, I just made that decision. Well, let me put it to you this way and see if this helps. And that was very, very beneficial to him. We played We Will Rock You, where I just had him do bass, bass, snare for the song. We had talked about the 4 count and how it's a 4 count, but the 4 is silent. Right, and then we have like 1, 2, 3, 4. Read my lips as I count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 4. There's nothing there in the song. That 4 is a placeholder to make sure that we wait long enough before we start the whole pattern again. So there's nothing there on the 4 beat, but it's necessary to count so that when we come back to the 1, it's where it's supposed to be. So we went from that, the previous lesson, to him actually playing the beat and playing the double kick on the 1 and the 2, the snare drum on the 3 hi-hat, and then the 4th hi-hat by itself. And like this. And he was very happy because that was progress for him, really good progress. He has a good sense of timing, so that was really, really fun and rewarding to see him have that aha moment and to see it click for him. Because I'll tell you what, it gets frustrating if we're not getting something. And certainly if as a student you're not practicing, it can get frustrating because you are not going to progress as much. If you're not practicing in between lessons, you're not going to make that progress. And so you might start to feel like, oh, we're doing this again, we're doing the same thing over and over again. Well, that's up to us as students to go and take what we're learning and practice it and work on it and get better at it so that a lesson or 2 down the road, we could start to either expand on that idea or move on to another idea, another concept, and continue to progress. So like I said, The progression of a student is up to that student. We as teachers we're showing them ideas, we're showing them concepts, we're giving them the tools that they need to get better and to accomplish what they want to accomplish. But then it's up to them to take those ideas and apply them and work on them and get better at them and get more familiar with them. So attitude is everything. We tend to be very impatient with ourselves. So let's try to always keep that attitude that, hey, this is a work in progress. I am working on it and I am getting better. When my students say, but I can't do that yet, add this one little word to the end of that statement, but I can't do this yet. It changes the context of the entire statement from one of defeat to one of acceptance and one of hope that we're going to move forward and there's one day that we're going to get this, right? So if you're thinking, I can't do this yet, I can't do it yet, but that's okay. I just have to kind of work on it more and ask my teacher about it if I'm really having trouble. But there is always a yet there. I can't do it yet. So let's try to be more patient with ourselves. Let's try to allow ourselves our mistakes, allow ourselves our shortcomings, allow ourselves to not be great and perfect right away, and give ourselves time to learn and grow and progress. That's the attitude portion. The other thing is, if you're not getting something on the drums, if you have an instructor, obviously ask your instructor, but maybe try to change your approach. Maybe try to change the way you think about it. There's plenty of resources online. As a matter of fact, I have an online drumming course that I'm working on right now. I have some instructional videos about basic stuff on my YouTube channel, as well as drum covers and my performances, live performances. So if you want to take a look at that stuff, go ahead, feel free. Leave me any comments, anything that strikes you, anything that you like. Hit the like button and leave me some comments. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. But really, the Mark Z Drumcast is about concepts, ideas, attitudes, the way we approach our drums, the way we approach our playing, and the fact that we're constantly learning, we're constantly getting better and evolving. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. I am nowhere near where I think I should be, but that's just motivation for me. That's not defeating me. And of course, people say very nice things about what I do, but myself, I'm constantly trying to get better for myself. So attitude is everything. Try different approaches to something, or seek out different explanations if you can about how to do certain things, whatever it is. And just remember that mistakes are part of the game. We have to walk before we run. And I think I'm going to end this show on that note. Remember, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are the new days from the Mark Z Drumcast. I am going to be coming to you from sunny Florida starting next week from between the 9th and the 16th. I will be doing shows. I'm not sure what it's going to look like. It may be more rudiment based. It may be more drum pad based. It may be just me talking. Imagine that, me talking. I have a couple of stories that I would like to tell. A little bit of a background. I would like to talk about the origin story of Mark Z Drums. And I would also like to talk about the origin story as Mark Zapata, the drummer, when I started. What was my origin story? What was my spider bite moment? So maybe I'll talk about that, include that in one of the shows next week while I'm away. And then maybe I'll even talk about what do you do when you're away? How do we continue to practice if we're on vacation and we want to continue at least to work on our hands, to work on different things without our drum sets, without our normal routines, without our normal equipment? What does that look like? What can we do? See, that's a good idea for a show. And I think that next week, when I am in Florida, what is it? The 9th is Wednesday? Yeah, I'll do a show on the 9th, but it'll probably be from here. But after that, the next couple of shows will be from Florida. And looking forward to it, although the weather just broke here in New York and it's absolutely beautiful. And now I'm willingly going back into the steamy rainforest by going down to Florida. I hear it's not fun, but it's cool. My family's down there, and that's what it's going to be all about. So, hey, listen, everybody, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. Check out my other socials if you want. Mark Z Drums on TikTok, Patreon, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. What else? What else I got? Oh my goodness. And then feel free to support, give a like, things like that. On my Patreon, I'm still putting it together. It has not officially launched, but I do have a Patreon at Mark Z Drums. If you're curious, if you're interested, I have a low-level entry membership, which is all I have running right now. And what I'm giving for that is the ability for anybody who signs up to become a member to request a drum cover. And I will do the drum cover, and I will go ahead and put it up on the Patreon site exclusively for you before anybody else in the world sees it. And then I'm thinking about maybe doing song breakdowns. But, you know, let's get off the ground. Let's start building this community. Let's start chatting with each other. You will also get access to the Discord server, the Mark Z Drumcast Discord server, where once we start building this community, we can all chat with each other. We can exchange ideas. We can have fun. We can tell stories. We can ask questions. We can do all of that stuff. And I'm sure it's going to be a great community. I'm really looking for people who love to play drums, love people who play drums, love to listen to play drums, have family members that play drums, have children that play drums, whatever it is. If you love drums and drumming, come on down. Let's hang out. All right. So anyway, that's enough out of me for today. Thanks a lot for checking out my video. Thanks a lot for checking out my page. And I will see you next time. A lot of changes coming to the Mark Z Drumcast. A lot of cool stuff happening. So stay tuned. But thanks again.